The Power of Now, by Eckhart Tolle, is one of the most influential spiritual books of the last decades. Millions read it to escape anxiety, depression, and the noise of modern life. Its central promise is simple and seductive. Peace is found by leaving the past and future behind and living fully in the present moment. But when we examine this message through the lens of Scripture, an important question emerges. Is living in the now the same thing as biblical peace, or is it something fundamentally different? Today on The Bible Responds, we will examine where the power of now touches biblical truth and where it quietly departs from it in a dangerous way. Tolle teaches that the mind is the enemy, that thought itself creates suffering, and that salvation comes from silencing the inner voice and dissolving the ego. At first glance, this sounds spiritual. After all, the Bible does say in Psalm 46:10, "Be still and know that I am God." But notice something crucial. The verse does not say empty your mind and become aware of yourself. It says, "Know that I am God." Stillness in the Bible is not the absence of thought. It is the recognition of divine authority. Biblical peace begins with God, not with consciousness. When Tolle invites people to detach from thinking, Scripture instead invites us to direct our thinking correctly. Romans 12:2 tells us, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind, not by the erasing of it." God does not want an empty mind. He wants a renewed one. One of the most repeated ideas in The Power of Now is that time is an illusion, and that the past and future are mental constructs trapping humanity in suffering. Tolle argues that salvation exists only in the eternal now. The Bible, however, presents a very different balance. Jesus himself said at Matthew 6:34, "Never be anxious about the next day," which clearly encourages present trust. But in the same scriptures, God constantly reminds his servants of the past and the future. Deuteronomy 32:7 says, "Remember the days of old," while Proverbs 23:18 assures us, "There exists a future, and your hope will not be cut off." Biblical faith is not trapped in the moment. It is anchored in God's promises across time. The present moment matters, but it is meaningful only because God acts in history and has a purpose for the future. Tolle also speaks extensively about the ego, describing it as a false self that must die for peace to emerge. While Scripture does warn against pride and selfish ambition, it never teaches the destruction of identity. Instead, it teaches transformation. Ephesians 4:22-24 explains that we must put away the old personality and put on the new personality, not erase ourselves entirely. The Bible does not say the self is an illusion. It says the sinful self must be replaced with a godly one. When spirituality teaches self-dissolution without moral direction, it leaves people vulnerable. Colossians 2:8 gives a clear warning. "Look out, that no one takes you captive by philosophy and empty deception according to human tradition. Peace that removes accountability is not biblical peace." Another central theme in The Power of Now is suffering. Tolle claims that pain exists because we resist the present moment, and that suffering ends when acceptance begins. Scripture agrees in part, but again, goes deeper. James 1:2-4 teaches that trials produce endurance and maturity, not merely awareness. Suffering in the Bible is not just something to observe. It is something God uses. Romans 8:18 reminds us that the sufferings of the present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed. Tolle offers acceptance without explanation. The Bible offers meaning, purpose, and hope beyond suffering, not just within it. Perhaps the most critical difference is how peace itself is defined. Tolle describes peace as a state of inner neutrality, beyond emotion, beyond judgment. Jesus describes peace very differently. In John 14:27, he says, "I give you my peace, not as the world gives, do I give it to you." Biblical peace is relational. It comes from being right with God, not from detaching from reality. Philippians 4:6-7 explains that the peace of God that surpasses all understanding will guard your hearts and your mental powers. Notice, God's peace guards the mind. It does not shut it down. It protects thinking. It does not silence it. The danger of the power of now is not that it is completely false, but that it is incomplete. It recognizes humanity's exhaustion, but misdiagnoses the cure. The Bible teaches that humanity's deepest problem is not overthinking. It is separation from God. Isaiah 48:22 states plainly, "There is no peace for the wicked." Peace is not a technique. It is a byproduct of alignment with God's will. When spirituality removes God from the center and replaces him with awareness, presence, or consciousness, it shifts worship from the Creator to the experience. The power of now offers temporary relief, but the Bible offers lasting peace. Presence without truth is fragile. Awareness without God is unstable. True peace does not come from escaping the mind, but from trusting the one who created it. Psalm 37:5 says, "Commit your way to Jehovah. Rely on him, and he will act." The now matters, but only when God is in it. If you want peace that survives suffering, loss, and death itself, you don't need enlightenment. You need reconciliation with God. That is the power not just of now, but of eternity. Subscribe for more bestsellers.